and there's been some news lately. And I thought I would simply open by asking you just for a few words about Justice Kennedy. I know from my own experience, when I served with a colleague for a number of years on the Court of Appeals and gotten to know that person and agreed and disagreed, but you go through a lot with them. And when they left the court, I really felt a deep sense of loss, as if this man or woman couldn't be replaced. And I know you and Justice Kennedy served very closely and cordially for a number of years, and I just wondered if you had some words about his departure.
Well, sure. I mean, you're right. You do feel a sense of loss, or I'm sure we will feel a sense of loss as we go into the next term. He was an extraordinary man, an extraordinary jurist. He was deeply committed to collegiality and civil discourse. He taught that by example. Very widely read, very thoughtful. You know, one moment he's talking about Socrates and Plato, and the next moment talking about his time as a teenager working the oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. Just a wonderful role model for public service, and very committed. You know, he goes off and would be teaching or giving speeches or other type of engagement, very keen on improving civic engagement, making sure that people kind of understood their heritage and were fully committed to government, because he certainly was somebody who felt that without that kind of civic engagement that the American experiment would be imperiled. And Mary, his wife, was just a wonderful, wonderful gift to the court. Very warm and caring, very discerning, school teacher, had certainly a career of her own that I'm sure she deeply affected the lives of thousands and thousands of students.
We tend to assume that sometimes when justices retire that they ride off into the sunset, but that doesn't have to be the case. And I read some news items that said Justice Kennedy would continue to be a great ambassador for the court and continue to represent the court on some occasions and everything. Do you have that feeling that he's going to continue to be engaged?
I hope so. I think he's is now and will continue to be a wonderful ambassador for the court. I don't know, many of you may have seen him speak. He never uses notes, and yet will talk, can talk for 45 minutes without a note and hold people really spellbound.
That's the way you used to do in oral arguments.
Well, yeah, I always say this, and it's true, that my reputation as an oral advocate improved dramatically when I became the Chief Justice. But he's very engaging, and I certainly hope, and I know he is planning on continuing to be engaged in, explaining to people how the court functions, what it is, and explaining how our democracy functions.
Well, he's going to be a wonderful resource, I think, for all of us.